Hello and welcome back to Advanced Hwoarang Lessons. Today's lesson is kind of mentioned in other open Hwoarang lessons before, like how do you mix up and how do you set up JFSR, right? So if you have situations where you were sidestepping, perhaps 1-2 into a sidestep into an SS4, or 1-2 into sidestep in Flamingo, or 1-2 sidestep into RFF. That way you can use the same situations to 1-2 into a sidestep JFSR. I mean, that's how you set up JFSR, right? And I did mention a couple of moves there, and SS4 being one of them, but it does have a pair, SS+3. And these are Hwoarang's only sidestep moves. He has no other sidestep moves whatsoever, and he didn't get any additional ones in Tekken 8. That still remains to be seen until the game does release. But for now, SS+3 and SS4, these are his two sidestep moves that we're finally going to talk about. Rose intro. So let's start with SS3, because I'm pretty sure you know everything about SS4, right? You press it on the daily. You know how that move works. So let's talk about SS3, since you probably don't press this mid-high kick on the daily. So let's start with SS3. So again, SS3 comes out at 18 frames. 18 to 19 frames respectively. And as you can see, it's -1 on hit. And if you do it on block, he's -12. He's pretty punishable. However, it can be a launcher. That's right. You see how the opponent gets crumple stunned a little bit, they hold their gut, and they fall down, and you can follow up with a Peacekeeper. I say it can be a combo because it is technically escapable. So we have Hwoarang here. He's going to demonstrate it. I hold forward and hold back, and I'm good. So even if the Hwoarang attempts Peacekeeper, I will be completely fine. There's nothing they can get. What they get is huge plus frames for a mix-up. That's the most they get. But if your opponent is caught sleeping, you can deal some serious damage. And this is a regular B&B you can use. 51 damage. That's not bad for a situation you didn't expect to even get a counter hit. Now, of course, there's not much you're doing with this -1. Of course, it does look like he kind of like gets some space, like resetting back to range 1. But for the most part, you're still more or less in front of your opponent's face. And if I record an option here, let's say SS3, backdash, back 3, I don't think you're avoiding most things for the most part. Oh, well, you can. So it's kind of like standing 3. Just know, pick your points, when to take it. Again, moves that aren't as long, you can potentially whiff punish. Again, link in the description below for how the standing 3, 3-3-3, 3-3-4, etc., how that all works, because it is connected to SS3 and SS+3, because that's pretty much everything about SS3. So its second kick, SS+3, is a move you'll probably commit more to rather than just doing this by itself. Also by the fact that it's -12. Although most people, again, just like standing 3, they won't punish it. So you're +14 on hit, and then you're +3 on block. So you have the same 1-2-3 on block situation. And this one is a full counter hit combo. And if you get it and commit to it, you're sitting around 65 damage, 5 points away from 70. That ain't bad at all. Of course, 14 is a huge number. Like, there's nothing your opponent can do. Even if I set this to, let's say, backdash. So your best option here is always to LFS back 4. That way you can potentially get a counter hit launch. It's your best option. Not unless you want to play it a little bit safe, then you can do an LFS 2. But as you can see, they can't sidestep either of that. So if you want to like take advantage of the frames and not do a check, you can go straight into down 3-4. If I change this to, let's say, sidestep left, because you should be stepping Hwoarang to the left there, right? But you can't do that at +14. You kind of just have to... It's a heat engager, right? They have to eat this 50-50 mix-up. They don't have a choice on hit. On block, it's the same dice how it's always been, +3. So if they're stepping towards the right, LFS F4. Then if they're stepping towards the left, I believe you're supposed to LFS back 4. So that's SS+3, because again, this move does not jail. So if I put this to crouching guard, even on hit, oh no, on hit it's a natural combo. I meant on block. On block, this does not jail. In Tekken 8, it does jail. So you can really just freely throw it out. But this is not Tekken 8, so we're still talking about Tekken 7. So if your opponent is awake, because there's no other way to vary this compared to standing 3 and LFS 3, right? Because it's standing 3, you can commit to the mid, and you can commit to Flamingo. And even like another high, like 3-3-4 into like the Backlash version. Just in case they were really looking for 3-3-4. But of course, the timing for that doesn't really vary a lot. But throwing out another animation could shake things up. The same thing with LFS3. It gets access to all the standing 3 moves. So that's the only downside. While it is very similar to these 2 moves, you're kind of just like stuck committing to it. So a lot of players will be like ready to fuzzy it for the most part. So that's what you have to watch out for when you're trying to like make this connect. And of course, again, the best option would be to fuzzy it first, because if they're gonna press a button here, again, right, you saw it earlier, it's a counter hit launcher. Not exactly a good time if they attempt to press a button. I just don't know if it's a counter hit launcher on the second hit. No, it's not. It's plus 14 on the second hit. The second hit by itself, which meant that's guaranteed. LFS 3 itself is guaranteed. Question mark. Again, that was on crouch guard. Let's put it on guard all. Try to get the second hit only. Nope, that's right. LFS 3 by itself is guaranteed. But again, it's going to be very, very difficult to exactly know when that kick itself was counter hit. Is it just LFS 3? I'm about to find out. Oh no, LFS 1 as well. So I mean, you can commit to an LFS 1 to stay safe right after you throw out LFS 3, SS+3, or a standing 3. I mean, take your pick for the most part. So it's a smaller mix-up compared to standing 3 and LFS 3, but it can keep your opponent shocked, or not necessarily shocked, on their toes, because they're going to be looking at this sidestep move a lot. SS4, that's right. This is a 19 frame low that's plus 5 force crouch on hit and is negative 13 on block, which means it's launch punishable to a couple of characters, a very small group of characters. So just when you're playing against them, watch out. And you do know when it does get a counter hit, bang! That hurts a ton for the opponent. Basic B&B here. That's 65 damage. Of course, if we go for an alternative, a little bit more consistent, let's say down back 4. 63, you're 2 points away. Let's try to make it a little bit different. This is like the combo you use with RFS DF4 on counter hit. 63. But of course, you can go for the Hunting Hawk Ender here, provided you're very close right after. That's right, you gotta be running up to your opponent right after the tailspin. So distance to make the Hunting Hawk connect matters. $66 damage. It took a while. Don't ask me how many times it took me to get that combo down. You can view the stream if you want to. But moving on. So again, 65, 63, and 66 damage for counter hit SS4. So yeah, again, very, very deadly sidestep low. That is, you know, it's gonna get hit by big 13 frame punishes, but it's a very, very useful tool. And your plus 5 force crouch. That's the biggest part. So it's very similar to LFS down back 4. Plus 4, not 5. But it's also not force crouch. This one, again, once you put them in force crouch, you limit their options. So here, in this situation, if you were actually playing against another Hwoarang, that means they can only sidestep towards the right. Well, cleanly. It doesn't mean you can't sidestep towards the left. It's just like it's more difficult to get the input to sidestep towards the left. So if you were against someone who wants to step towards the left, and you're at plus 5 force crouch, here's a couple of options that you can use. So one of them would be DF1 plus 2. That's right, you can use this extra mid to potentially keep them in check. But as you saw there, there's a chance that this move may lose. That's just Hwoarang mids for you. The other one is RFF3. This one should track cleanly always towards the left. So if you just want to like make sure they're not moving, it's like, yeah, just throw out the left leg. The next one you can use are highs. So RFF2 will always catch them. They can't go anywhere. The next one is RFF back 4. This will track here at these frames. And then lows. Down 3-4 is unescapable if you're playing on player 1 and they're attempting to step towards the right. And down back 4, your old reliable. It's the same thing if I change it to sidewalk. I'm gonna just do all the options here. Into DF1 plus 2, both ways, into RFF3, How about some RFF back 4, RFF 2, down 3 4, and then of course a down back 4. So very, very reliable options here. Of course, again, it's not counting the homing moves, backlash, RFF, DF3. You can use them, including an instant while standing 3, but we're looking more at like options that you can press immediately. Because with an instant while standing 3 here, you're spending frames, and your opponent is also spending frames by stepping. Because if they attempt to interrupt you, we'll check it later after we go back to sidestep left. But I'm pretty sure there's a room where you can still get interrupted. So again, sidestep left, using the same options. If you DF1+2, this is when it becomes a little bit more inconsistent. There you go, see? There's a whiff there, another whiff there. So it's not reliable, but you can throw it out. The one that does disappear from your mid arsenal is RFF3, because this really only tracks towards the right. So don't rely on this to like at least be inconsistent. No, that's DF1+2's job if you want to like risk something. Of course, all the highs, you're still fine, except RFF back 4. It doesn't track that way, so you use the other one, RFF back 3, just to potentially get a big counter hit launch. The same thing with RFF back 4 if they're stepping towards the right. And then down 3-4 will still catch sidestep left. And of course, your old reliable down back 4 into, just chip or +3. We move this to sidewalk left. And of course, DF1+2, all the more it's gonna start losing. And then we change this to RFF back 3. The hits, RFF 2, we good. Of course, you can go RFF 2-1, RFF 2-4, take your pick. Down back 4, we're still fine. And then down 3-4. This one is also inconsistent from what I remember. Right now, it is currently hitting. But there you go. It can lose. So if they're committing to the walk, watch out that you can't really take instant pressure immediately. Of course, if they're not stepping, they're not confident in their step. A DF4 on both sides, whether you're playing on player 2 or player 1, the left or the right. This is like the first thing you should always check. Can I get an RFF DF4? Because if I can get an RFF DF4, that's great. And then you can just lock into an RFS1, and then like the mind games begin from here, because okay, they're gonna wait here. So now I can stand switch down 3-4. I can potentially do a hell sweep, or I can reset back into RFF. And if they're still not moving, ain't my problem. Now, of course, if you swap this to backdash, again, it's forced crouch. There's nowhere. They're not getting anywhere. So RFF3 and RFF, not RFF, DF1+2. DF1+2 will not lose. Down back 4 is not getting backdash either. Neither is down 3-4. So basically, all the options you're using for sidestep left and sidestep right will not get backdash here. You can freely throw them out. Just know which way they're stepping, or rather which side you're playing on. So that's pretty much SS4 and SS+3. These moves, if you've noticed, again, their startup is at 18 and 19 respectively. That's the same thing with JFSR. JFSR, again, at its fastest, comes out at 18 and 19. That's why it perfectly complements the sidestep game, or the sidestep mix-up mainly, which is SS4 and JFSR. So if the opponent, let's say again, you hit them with a specific situation where you hit them with it, so like down 3-4, RFS2 into a sidestep 4, you can use that same one into a JFSR. And then if you want an extra mid, like let's say you don't want to do sidestep DF1 or sidestep DF1+2 or a sidestep DF4, you could commit to an SS+3, because the moment you sidestep, if you want to get a 3 button, you'd have to cancel out of your sidestep. So if I sidestep towards the left, I'd have to hold back in order to get back 3, or even hold forward then back 3. Same thing like sidestep duck into while standing 3. So if you were to use the same situation, down 3-4 RFS2, sidestep duck into while standing 3. So you have to do extra stuff if you want to get your sidestep moves. So that's why SS+3, while it's probably not the main complement to SS JFSR and SS4, it's an extra. Let's put it that way. Wherein if you needed a mid to come out at the same frames where the guessing game is there, then yeah, you can throw that out. Most especially if they're not ducking the second hit at all and they don't have a fuzzy. Or you can throw out the first one and really like try to gauge the reactions, maybe get a whiff punish here or there. And of course, it's also perfect if you don't have a sidestep JFSR, right? Because sidestep JFSR is like not exactly easy to pull off. You should still practice this as a Hwoarang main. Big requirement. See, I'm getting skyrockets right there. But there you go, JFSR. So if you don't have one, you could make this your main sidestep mix-up. You know, sidestep SS4 and SS+3. And then if you don't want to do SS4, you can sidestep down 3-4. But again, you have to, while you're sidestepping, make sure you cancel out first. Because if you sidestep into 3 and forget to press the down, you're not going to get it. So that's up, down, down 3-4, down, down, down 3-4. Yeah, pretty straightforward sidestep moves and what they do and what they mainly complement. This big launcher lethal skyrocket. That's what they call it in Tekken 8. So the new kids call it. So again, the next advanced Hwoarang lessons is going to be on the other side of the screen. I've been Frontier, and I'll see you there.